shift, bass hit, neck snap, true talk, no fluff, heat rise, act up, snap tight, step clean, eyes locked, scene mean, just Jackson Guest. Feel that beat drop, chest pump, don't stop, just Jackson Guest. Here comes fire, here comes heat, no retreat, on this beat, just Jackson Guest. Just Jackson Guest. Just Jackson Guest. Boom shakalaka boom shakalaka boom 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 boom.
Mind flip, spine stiff, word cut, gift shift, talk slick, move quick, clock tick, don't blink.
Just Jackson Guest. Boom shakalaka boom shakalaka boom. Just Jackson Guest. Boom shakalaka boom shakalaka boom.
More love with backbone, more safety, full grown, more respect when it's earned, more clients return, more stacks, more flow, more peace that we grow, more health in the grind, more wealth in the mind, more cheers from the crowd, more strong women loud, more worth that you feel, more power made real. Yeah, just Jackson Guest. Here comes fire, here comes heat, no retreat, on this beat, just Jackson Guest. Just Jackson Guest. Boom shakalaka boom shakalaka boom. Boom shakalaka boom, hey boom boom. Boom shakalaka boom, hey boom boom. Boom shakalaka boom. Boom shakalaka boom, hey boom shakalaka boom shakalaka boom, hey boom shakalaka boom shakalaka boom. Hey boom shakalaka boom, boom shakalaka boom shakalaka boom, hey boom shakalaka boom.
Kick bounce, hi-hat, run, shoulders roll, sun up, baseline, waistline, heat rise, no decline. Just Jackson Guest. Boom shakalaka boom 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 boom. More love with backbone, more sun, more chrome, when it go, when the sun, more run to the turn, more stacks, more flow, more blast in the turn, more just no him, more shirt, more stacks in the cloud, more strong in the loud, more worth that you feel, more power made free.
Yeah, more drive, no style, more rise, stand tall, more force, no fear, more shit this year, yeah.
Just Jackson Guest.
Boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka.
And just like that, we made it to another Monday. It is the last Monday in July. How fast did this month go for you? Because I tell you, it was filled with every single roller coaster moment in it, and it felt like it was never going to end, but yet it felt like it was over in a blink of an eye. So I'm not sure where you're standing with that, but hello. Thank you for being here for Just Jackson Guest. I hope you are going to enjoy the show tonight. Oh, we got Angel in the house. Angel was one of our guests last week. Always good to see him. We got Will Rochelle. Well, you can call him Bill. He is our amazing, he's amazing for a million things, but he did my intro and my outro, which is so cool. Mr. David Causey is in the house, but he was not first tonight. What the heck? I almost sent out the SOS on him when he's not first. It's kind of wild. It is so wild. Yolanda's in the house, and I see that we already have Mr. Charles Caldwell from Hong Kong is in the house. I appreciate you guys being here. You're going to love our guests tonight. They're so amazing. I have a few things to share before we get them on stage. So go ahead and put in the comments. Do you think it's going to be Elle? Do you think it's going to be Yarden? Yarden or Elle? Who's coming to stage first for me after I get done chatting with you? Because if you have never watched Just Jackson Guest, almost every single week, I bring two different guests on stage, and they could be from totally and completely different countries or cities or backgrounds or any other things, or they could be maybe somewhat similar, or maybe they've known each other through LinkedIn or other social media events, or maybe they've never met each other. But the cool thing about tonight is all three of us, myself and both guests, all live in the state of Michigan. If you don't know anything about Michigan, we tend to lift our hand up, okay? The thumb area is kind of like where Detroit is, Ann Arbor is. The middle is Lansing. That's where Yarden is from, or lives, or services, at least I should say. About halfway between Lansing and the side of your hand, just under your pinky, is what's called the Grand Rapids area, which is where Elle is, and I am in Muskegon, which is right on the lake. So we're kind of almost in a line. You can literally drive the highway down to get to all three of us. It's hilarious. hilarious. But if you're watching the replay or you're coming in from a different time zone and you're not sure exactly what we're talking about, you can always message one of us. We can share with you. We can chat a little bit more because we got some great information to share. But I want to give you a heads up. Tomorrow night, I am actually going to be a guest on a different show. It will be with the amazing Nick and her, what does she call it? The person behind the pen. Her show for her business, her publishing business is Guiding Brilliant Writers. And she recently published so many books, actually. She's done 3 in the past month and a half or so, with another one about to come out. But this one, that We Choose to Be More Than Our Diagnoses, is going to be one that we talk about because she let me be a reviewer on this. And that's something I've never experienced before, like before it went to print. So I feel very honored about that. So definitely catch that. That'll be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this weekend, I'm still a little discombobulated because we had our work fundraiser. And if you have never put on a nonprofit fundraiser with very limited other humans helping you, you may not realize how big of a task it is, but I still feel like my words aren't coming out right. I feel like I'm still mushy, like I'm still kind of recombobulating. So I do apologize if I stumble over some words tonight. But if you want to see what I look like in costume, you can go to my page. I posted a picture this morning. It was a very fun event. Lots of people got together to talk about, reducing crime, reducing conflict, figuring out how to support nonprofits in this kind of an economy, which is really tough stuff. But also there has been an increase. The more I do this show, the more I get interesting messages. And some people think they can literally come on stage that night. No, we're booked out. We have people that actually have schedules that got a plan. But I've been starting to get some people, like, I don't know if they're their scouts or they are paying people to get them gigs or something, where they will actually message me and be like, I know this great person to be on your podcast. And I'm like, great, tell them to message me, because I'm not going to do it through a third party. I just need it to be something from they want. But I had a new experience last week. I was getting, I don't know if catfished would be the right word or not, but I had this guy that's definitely an influencer on TikTok, almost 300,000 followers on TikTok, like over 50,000 followers on Facebook. Definitely a presence of a man, all distinguished and all this stuff. And he followed me and messaged me, which, I figured it was probably just because it popped up randomly. Well, he was like trying to be all flirty and stuff with me. And I'm like, okay, first of all, this is weird, because why would you find little old me who doesn't even have 1,000 followers? And then he was like trying to give me all these compliments and stuff. It was just kind of weird. And then all of a sudden he's like, so other than your job, what do you do? And I'm like, that's kind of weird. So I talked about, doing a show. And he's like, really? You do a podcast? And I'm like, yeah. And so he said, hey, I'm part of this distinguished men group out of Texas, and I would love to be one of your guests. Why don't you send this email to the booking person and we can get it all set up? And I'm like, okay, let me check into it, blah, blah, blah. And I will send the email out. So it was the first time I've ever crossed my line and actually reached out to somebody on somebody's behalf, but it was like him supposedly going to be the person. And he said his screener person or scheduler person had to get the email. So I looked up the group that he's a part of, which, oh my gosh, it sounds like a really cool group. It sounds like their mission is to have men be really focused and role model-ish for people that are struggling as youth, which, I align with that if y'all know what kind of day job I do. So I sent the email, and within minutes it came back. We're going to charge you $500 to have him on your stage. And I started laughing out loud. I'm like, oh my God, this is hilarious. This guy has all these followers and he needs $500 little dollars from me. Oh my gosh, totally, totally wild. And so I messaged him. I'm like, hey, sorry, that's not how my show works. I don't charge people to be on stage, and I certainly don't pay people to be on stage. I got to pay a lot of money to even do this show myself. His whole attitude changed. Like, he got to be one of those manipulative type of control people, telling me that I should be ashamed of myself for even thinking he would come on my show without me paying for him. And it just got me thinking, How many other people do people like him take advantage of? And guys, we are seeing literally in the newspaper, if you read the newspaper, on the news clips, on the social media vibe, the intensity of so many humans, especially men, but not all men, increasing intense violence. Real close to where I live, we just had something that made national news where a husband father just did the murder suicide with a whole family. They had 6 children. Tragic. Guys, we have to talk about the stuff that is hurting us, and we've got to talk about it at a younger, earlier age before it gets so much that people don't think there's another option, that people think this is the only response. So if you've never watched Jess Jackson Guest before, we do talk about difficult topics. If you are struggling with your own mental health, please reach out to 988. If you don't have a counselor, you don't have an emergency number here at home, there are people that want to support you. You can get through everything. I am 52 years old. I have had some bad crap go on in my life. Things maybe I've done myself, things that happened to me, but I've survived every one of those things. You have survived every bad, horrible thing that's happened to you up until now. And you're going to hear how life changes for us when we do different things, when we have support, when we learn new techniques, kind of like what we're going to learn when we get Elle on stage with her book, her Pressure-Free Living. Have you put in if you think it's going to be Elle or it's going to be Yarden tonight? Because it's going to be one of them. So I want you to take a minute. I want you to take that breath, no matter how bad your struggles are, no matter how frustrated you are, no matter how overwhelmed you are when you do read those news articles and you hear all the bad. I want you to give yourself some grace and give yourself some love because you are a beautiful human that was meant to be here. Okay. So is it Elle? Is it Yarden? Is it Elle? Yarden? Yarden? Let me see. Has anybody even put in the comments who they think is going to be on stage first? Because I always ask the question that I forget to check. Let's see. What do we think? What do we think? Oh, we got so many new people in the house. I haven't been here in forever, or I just haven't seen their names in a while. Because do you know some people watch these shows and they don't comment? Yeah, it happens. Guys, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to have you. But I'm going to give you a hint. It might just be the person coming on stage is the person that I just held up her book. Did you guess Elle? Because she's about to come to stage. Are you ready? Some of you know her from, I believe, the Outlier Project. This woman, I have been blessed to meet in person. Are you ready for her? Here she comes.
Hi there, Jackie.
Beautiful friend. I am so great to have you. Oh my gosh. Do you want to even explain what our visit was like in person when we met the first time?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So we went for a walk and when you meet someone and you're like, oh gosh, have we just known each other our whole lives?
Literally.
I don't even know how many subjects we covered because
thousands.
we just kept like one thing led to another. It was just really, really beautiful. And we didn't want it to end. So I'm really glad to be here with you.
Oh, I am too. And as much as I loved our time together and I love the things we talked about, the fact that we walked by that huge porcupine and he talked to us just signified that we were meant to be in that space together at that exact time. It made me so happy.
Pretty cool.
Oh, I love it. If you guys already know Elle, you're probably going to find out a couple new things about her tonight. If you have never met Elle, you need to jump on her page right now and follow her or connect with her because the things that she does, her spirit, her heart, you need more L's in your life is all I got to say, okay? So Miss Elle, thank you for being a friend. Thank you for watching the show in the past. Thank you for spending physical time with me. I am going to start off with our 3 questions I always ask my guests the very first time they're here. And then we're going to turn it over to you to share about anything you want to talk about tonight because the stuff you do is magnificent, but they also deserve to buy your book to learn more. They deserve to follow your page because I believe at least once a week you do a video segment on a topic.
Every day.
See, I'm so bad that if they don't show up in my feeds lately, I'm missing people's pages because I'm only on for a couple minutes at a time. You can get so much free information from her little short video clips every day. I'm so excited. Okay, Miss Elle, you've done so much. You've done so much. You're a published author right here. And
I know, it's pretty crazy,
Yeah. You've got all this cool stuff in your background. You have so much talent and creativity with you. But think about 2 things, and I'm going to preface, don't tell me your family because I know your family's amazing. You've shared that with me already, but 2 things specifically for you because we need to own it ourselves. 2 things you're proud of that you as Elle have accomplished in this world.
Oh, wow. Okay. When I think back throughout my life, I think one of them was I won a seat in the varsity boat at Michigan to row. And I had never rowed before, except like a rowboat, But I'm talking about a racing scull, right? And and this guy just handed me a flyer on campus, said, "You look like a rower, go to this." And I did, and I was a novice for like 2 weeks, and then one of the seniors couldn't row. I'm fresh on campus and I get put in the boat and I win the seat. So that's kind of fun.
I love that so much.
Yeah. And I think the other thing would be that I broke a glass ceiling at the University of Michigan too. I was the first woman in orchestral conducting there. So first woman in the program, then a woman from Brazil came, a woman from Taiwan came, and I loved all my colleagues, both male and female. It was just an amazing, amazing time, but that was pretty darn cool.
So I don't know if people really understand what you just said there, because you just kind of, yeah, it was pretty cool. I broke a ceiling being a conductor. No, it was so much more than that. Yeah. We are talking a conductor. Like, some people just kind of overlook the person that is in charge of all that, but it is almost like directing, like almost like strategical.
Oh yeah, people think you just wave your hands, right? But literally you spend hours and hours and hours and hours before you ever get on the podium, because you have to know what everybody is doing and you have to decide what you want them to do. So for like a piece by Brahms or Beethoven, or like, it's all these instruments and you have to know the whole thing. Like, it's crazy. So the only reason I probably don't do it now is because I don't want to study that hard. I don't want to do that. Too many hours.
But girl, you already broke the glass ceiling. But not only did you do that, you led some amazing musical. I mean, people are touched by music. People are touched when they go to. Because did you consider it the symphony, or was it considered? What would you consider the conductor?
Yeah, I was an orchestral conductor, so symphonies. Yeah,
perfect.
And then I ran symphonies as an executive, and the thing is, you don't know who is touched by this music. I once was in an inner city school as a guest conductor working with the kids, and they had pieces by Handel, Baroque music to a Beethoven piece, and then they had a Disney piece. And I said, which would you like to start on? And they all said the Handel. They all wanted to play the Baroque music. They didn't care at all about the Disney music. So, like, what touches you? What speaks to your soul? And when a little kid starts learning those Baroque pieces, Vivaldi, Geminiani, like all those pieces, that was me. I had never heard any of that music, and I start playing it. I'm like, I'm born in the wrong century. That's what a lot of kids will say. It doesn't matter where they come from, how much money their parents, none of that matters. It's like, this is what I love. So that to me was connecting people to music they may have never heard. That to me is so much fun.
That is so cool. Now, did you play an instrument yourself?
I'm a violinist, yeah.
That's right. Okay. So real quick before I get back to my questions, Rob wondered if you have a favorite musical.
So I'm not totally into musicals myself, but ones that I've played in the pit, I would have to say that my favorite to play in the pit was Camelot. The score is gorgeous and it's well written. And so Camelot was the favorite one. I've been in done a lot of pit playing, and that was my favorite.
That is so cool. Thank you for sharing that experience, because it has to be different being in the pit than being able to be in the audience to listen and watch at the same time. Such a different, I love that.
Oh, yeah, we usually can't even see what's going on, so we're just like following the conductor.
And if you did try to look up, you might lose your whole. I love that. So guys, if you're just tuning in, we have the amazing Elle on stage. She is going through her questions, and then you get to learn a little bit more about her. My next question for every guest is, I don't care how many amazing books you have under your name, titles, education, glass ceilings you broke, or anything. As humans, we need to learn every single day. Every single minute of the day, we should be learning something new, even if we don't realize we're learning. Is there something you're willing to share with our guests about what you're either learning new, or what you're growing in, or what you're trying to overcome?
Wow. I'm a lifelong learner, so there's always little things that interest me. I'm always interested in languages, and I'm going to be going with my my writing coach to Montreal in May. I would love, like, I learned French in high school and in college, but I would really love to be able to do every conversation in French, like Quebecois French. Okay. So I follow this crazy guy who speaks it très lentement, comme les Québécois et les Québécoises. I mean, it's so funny. So that I think that's the thing right now. Like, I want to be able to do that with no fear, just like, it
I
just feels
love
natural.
that. Oh, I hope your trip goes amazing and I hope you are able to accomplish that goal.
Okay,
So,
good.
my friend, even though you have traveled a lot already and you're going to Montreal soon, if you could go anywhere right now, where would be a place that you would want to take off to?
I've never been to Norway, and I have a little bit of Norwegian blood, a little bit. I just think it'd be really cool to go to Norway. That's a place.
And I mean, there's so much good in Norway. There is so much good in Norway. I'm a
I
little
know.
jealous, not gonna lie. I would like to visit Norway and I might not want to come home for a long time.
That's true.
I love it. I hope you get there for sure. Well, Elle, now is the time that I'm going to turn it over to you, let you really share about anything that you want to talk about tonight. I know I had a little longer intro tonight than I usually do, so I want you to take some time and really share about you, your business, all the cool stuff. And then for anybody that is in the audience, it is your turn to put some questions or comments in there for her because you're going to want to hear her, what she's got going on, but we want to see that you are still awake in there and you want to learn and jive and get some information. Elle, stage is yours.
Okay, we'll dive in here. So back in 2010, I'm sitting around the dining room table with my sons, and my eldest son says, "Mother, you should coach our high school baseball team in those mental toughness tips you teach your violin students and us. Like, we would be amazing." And I just started laughing, like, who wants their mother in the dugout? That's kind of crazy. I had coached them in middle school track, by the way, but so they knew my style. And so I looked at my middle son. He's like, "Mom, we want you to do this." So I took my ideas to the coaches. And when I took them to the head coach, he's like, "I seriously want you to work with the boys, but will you be my private coach?" So it was 2010, and he was a financial planner. And if you knew what was happening in 2008, 9, 10, I mean, one of my friends, a person who worked for him in New York, jumped out a 12-story window. Like, people died because of the pressure of what was going on in that financial crisis. And so all of a sudden, all these financial planners start working with me, and I developed a method. So I call this method the pressure-free method. And what it means is no matter what pressures or challenges are coming your way, you can prevent the stress response, that fight or flight stress response that is just going to mess with your head and mess with your body literally for hours. So I started playing with that idea, developed my method, and all of a sudden, like, I've just been coaching it to everyone from CEOs to 10-year-olds. Like, anyone can learn this method. I've even worked in schools with first graders. So, like, this is a simple thing I created because we're all complex and crazy. Like, we have all kinds of things happening. I think about the tragedy that you mentioned at the top of the call here, so close to us. And if you read the biographies of these people, like, it's all in the news, you're thinking, why did this happen? Like, how could this happen? And when stress gets too much, we do crazy stuff. We do things and we say things we later regret that we wish we'd never done. Like, how many times have you just said something and later been like, "Oh my God, why did I say that to her?" Right? It was so wrong. But when we're in that heightened emotion, crap comes out. Crap comes out of our mouth. You know, we say things and do things. And so by creating this method, trying to teach it to people, it's, at first I just thought I was helping people to perform well on the baseball field or perform well on a stage or in a meeting. And then all of a sudden, all this other stuff started to happen. So I started to really dig into research, and pretty much any chronic mental thing going on or chronic physical thing going on through time has a root cause in the release of these stress hormones, this stress response. So what happens when we stop doing that? So I had, like, amazing things happen to me that just blew my mind. So one of them was that my hand was covered in eczema. If you've ever had eczema, like, it can just be little patches. Mine was cracked and bleeding knuckles for 35 years, my first big violin competition when I was little. So this hand literally had cracked, bleeding knuckles. I had one little student I was teaching, he was 7. He goes, Mrs. Ingalls, do you have leprosy?
Oh,
I'm sure you've been to Bible camp, right? And he's like, do you have leprosy? I'm like, no, it's not contagious. Like I said, it's called eczema, right? But that's how ugly it was. And in 8 weeks of using this method on myself, by the way, I was kind of cheeky. I didn't think I needed it. And then I start using it
you're
on
the teacher,
myself.
right?
Because I'm not right. Like I got it all figured out, right? Wrong. So I started using it on myself. And my fingers, if you're on video, like this is a 63-year-old hand.
Yeah.
Now, if you
I got to see it in person, smooth as can be.
it's unbelievable. So our skin is our largest organ. And so it can reflect a lot. So, like, my husband's known me since I was 18. I have never had skin like this my entire adult life. Like, I used to have little red bumps on the back of my shoulders. There's nothing. There's just nothing. And so people have had all kinds of, I would call them miracle things happen. Children with ADHD, like, all of a sudden they can actually do well on tests because it's not a, I don't call it like a brain disorder. It's actually the fight or flight stress response messing with them. So if they can learn not to release those hormones that shut down this brain, now they'll remember. It's like, you and I do a lot of networking, Jackie. You go to an event and you just did a fundraiser. I used to do those for the symphony. I know what you're talking about. We ask, you meet someone and it's Jack, right? And 5 seconds later, you can't remember Jack's name. What is wrong with us, right? We're not stupid people. So what the heck is going on? So, David just wrote in here, stress affects us in subtle and dramatic ways. So true. And you can notice too, that there's a lot of judgment. Like, one person will say, I can't believe you're stressed out about that. Well, if you are, you are. Mm-hmm. It's just like any trauma we might have had. Our trauma is our trauma. The judgment is pointless. The judgment is really pointless. So it's been really, really fascinating to help people understand the stress response. And I would love to give the three steps right here if you're open, Jackie.
Go right ahead, please.
Okay. First step, what is your target? I call it targets. What are you aiming for? Sometimes people can't even tell me and they'll say, I just need to feel happier. Well, great. That guy who just did whatever happened in Grand Haven, he probably just needed to feel happier, right? Like, he needed something to change. Something was really weighing on him. So it might be emotional, but it might be a job or a new promotion, or like, what are you aiming for? Better relationship. It's usually health, wealth, or love, right? One of those 3. And then the second step is, what causes you to trigger the stress response in subtle or not so subtle ways? So it could just be this magic little box making a beep sound and you like startled and look. Or it tases you because you got it on vibrate and it's on your belt, right? Like, so it could be a sound, it could be a smell, it could be you're running late to something, or somebody cut you off on the highway. Like, it could be the most minor of things, or it could be the big things. It doesn't matter. It's still causing you to trigger these stress. It's like, for me, it was little annoyances. I don't get very angry or anxious. I've been performing my whole life. But if things are a little cluttered, or socks on the floor, or like some stupid little thing, I would trigger my stress response over it. So we have to untangle that. Third step, tools and the 10-second solution. I call it the 10-second solution, but it means like from a resting heart rate. So if your heart rate's elevated, it'll be less time. But you have this moment of time when you first feel the tension. So if you can notice mental tension or physical tension, like your shoulders go up, your jaws tightening, like anything like that, just pause for that moment, right in that second, and ask, oh, what's going on? And then ask yourself, is it really worth messing up my body and mind for hours? It takes hours for these hormones to dissipate out of your cells. That's why we have chronic disease. It's like, can we take that moment and say, it's not worth it? And then do some small thing. So the smallest of thing could be just put a hand on your abs and relax your belly. That tells your brain you're not in danger. Smile. You release these little chemicals in your brain called neuropeptides that keep your brain working for you. Now you won't say the stupid thing. Like just, I have 3 types of tools. I have over 50 tools, by the way, which is a ton. So if these 2 don't work for you in any way, there's like so many more. I share about 14 in each of my books. Pressure Free CEO and then Pressure Free Parenting is my other book. So if you're a parent or you want to reparent yourself, like I have clients who aren't parents, but I give them the book so they'll reparent themselves. I share about 14 tools, but I've created over 50 ways to interrupt that stress response. And that's the work we do here. And it's life changing. It's changed my life in so many ways, Jackie. And my families, my clients, I've worked with thousands of people around the world, and it's just like such fun work. Such fun work.
I think that is something alone that would be worth buying her book. She likes her work. It's fun. She said it's fun work. How many of us cannot stand waking up in the morning? It's like, oh, I got to go do these reports and I got to go deal with these cranky people and I got to go do this because I need money and I don't even like this job, or I'm not able to have a job right now. So I'm spending hours and hours and hours on job boards and stuff. When you're doing that and you're stressed, your energy isn't going to the right place. And it's so overwhelming to so many of us. We get all caught up in this and we forget how important our brain and our body is. In your book, and just listening to you just for the few minutes on stage tonight, it reminds us that we have some more control than we really realize we do.
You do. Yeah. And if you're going to an interview, if your belly's tight, your whole front of your body is tight, and you're literally repelling that person from hiring you. If you can relax your belly, it softens the whole front of you and your voice. So you know how your voice will kind of cuck up and it's hard to talk? Your voice will open, your face will open, you'll be in such a better state. And now people lean into you. So just relax those abs. Like that's one of the biggest things that people have trouble with because we hold a lot of tension there. We're in a fear-based world. So we tighten to protect ourselves. So when you relax there, it's cool.
And I appreciate you saying that because we are in a very fear-based all the time. Am I going to lose my job? Do I have enough money? Am I going to have enough food? Are my kids safe? Are something bad going to happen? But that is like normal fear. Think about the ones that are literally living in poverty, where they have gunshots going off all day, where they have somebody that's horrendously treating them in a way that we don't even want to think about right now. When you're in that nonstop and that fight or flight stress response is activated all day, 24 hours a day, sometimes your brain starts to think that that's normal. And you don't realize just a quick little trick like you're talking about. One of my favorite tricks in your book for the Pressure Free CEO, it's like the first thing you do when you say that 10-second thing is you say to open up your chest, give your heart
open wide. Yeah. Don't pinch your shoulders back because that actually closes off your back heart. But just go super wide. Super wide. Yeah.
And I've been trying to do that. And it's I feel weird because I'm like, how do you get your heart open? But I'm like, I'm mentally thinking about it. So even just thinking about it is making my brain not think about that report that should have been done a few minutes ago type of a thing. So
that's right. You dropped out of your head and into your body for just a moment. And that protected you. I love to say this too. Pressure free is not perfection, because a lot of people come to me because they're perfectionists. Okay. It's protection. It's protection from these releases of hormones. That's huge.
Yeah.
That is really huge.
Elle, you are amazing. You're spectacular. There's so much to learn from you. And there's ways they can work with you individually. Like you said, that you can be one-on-one coaches. You also do a couple different events each year, both here and in another state, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I do retreats. They're mostly for my clients, but also people who've never been my clients can attend those too. You can get on a conversation with me. We can find out what works for you and what's best for you. And then I do training. So your workplace can hire me to come in and do a training. It's really cool when a group learns this because I share some very funny tools and I use a lot of humor, and then people play around with it. And you start to change a culture. Like a lot of our work cultures today are very, very stress-based. So when we can get in there and actually do some of that work, that's really fun too. So you can share me with your boss, with your people you work for.
So Pressure Free CEO, this book is not just for people that are a CEO, okay? It is for every single person, but it does connect why so many people in high level positions that have all the money in the world and they got all these cool cars and everything, they're famous, they have all this great stuff, don't tend to live as long as so many other people do. So check out her book, follow Elle. You can connect with her, you can watch her videos, you have your YouTube page, you have your website. There's so much great information. I cannot thank you enough, and I cannot wait to walk with you again, my friend. We'll do
Oh my
that
gosh,
soon,
me
okay?
too, yeah. Thanks, Jackie.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you soon. So, time goes too fast for every single person on this stage. This is not to know everything in their bag of tricks. It's to get you excited to get to know another human and to realize how much just listening to somebody new for 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes can literally change your life. It's about realizing people are more connected than they are separate. So my next guest is pretty cool too. He and I have been in meetings now for just over a year, not quite a year and a half, give or take. He'll probably remember the date more than me because it was basically his start week, I think, was when we had our first meeting together, but it's been virtual. And so I cannot wait to bring Yarden to the stage. Are you guys ready for another super amazing guest? Because I'm ready to bring him up. Here he comes. Hello, my friend.
How are you?
I am lovely. Wasn't she great?
Oh my gosh, had I known that she was gonna be that awesome, I would have said I want to go first, right? Now I
No
gotta do all
pressure,
that breathing,
remember?
get myself out of my chest. Yeah, I know, right? You could have said
No,
the
I
book
know.
at least.
I know, right? Seriously, so good. And she writes so easy to read too. It's so great. I am so thankful that you agreed to come on here because, you and I have had our own private Zoom meetings. We've talked through messages and stuff, but usually we're in a room full with other people that are our colleagues and we don't just get to do one-on-one time. And now we're just hanging out on stage with a bunch of people watching us from around the globe. And we get to highlight you for a change, Mr. Yarden. So are you ready to jump into some questions?
I'm excited.
Yay. If you did not read my description of Yarden, you need to go back to the event page and see, because I never in my life thought I would say, hey, I'm going to be talking to a recovering rabbi. Not on my bingo card.
Right?
So you have done a ton of stuff. And like I said, I've only known you for the short time that you've been working at the agency you've been at. But watching you on LinkedIn and hearing from you in meetings and seeing different things you post about the business and everything, you have lived a life. You have accomplished a ton of amazing things. But I want you to focus on just two things. Same thing. Let's not talk about family. Two things that you specifically are proud of yourself for doing or accomplishing.
And one of them can't be being on this show, can it?
Oh, you are the first person that's ever said that.
Oh,
You get
wow.
bonus points.
I do have two things that, you did prep me on that I should think of two things to brag about, and I appreciate that. One of them is that I became very passionate about suicide prevention education. And about a year ago, I won an award from an international organization for my work in the field. And, sometimes you get an award, and I remember, I'm not good at bragging about myself. And one of my staff came in and they said, but you're not spreading the message. People need to see the message. And they took it to, it was tucked in a corner. They put it smack in the middle of the table. And they said, everyone that comes in needs to know that this is important. So that's one of the things I'm really proud about, is that I've trained over 106 times, impacting over 3,000 people in a model that every 5 people trained is 2 successful interventions. And thinking about that, I don't know the impact I've had, and it's exciting to know that's been positive. The second thing, I'm about to go jump in the second thing here, is that, there's 3 types of people, right? Those who count, those who know how to count, and those who don't. So this is the second thing. But anyways, the second thing is that someone dared me or challenged me to take a spring break trip with a group of adults with special needs who did not have that opportunity. And I did it. And it was one of the wildest, craziest, most meaningful trips I've ever taken. And I'm really glad I did it. I'm really proud that I did it.
Oh, the memories. I can't even imagine the memories that you have, but all those campers too. That is spectacular. Yeah. So I have been seeing you post some more things about some of the suicide prevention trainings that you've done, but I did not know that you have that kind of a history with it. So that's also a passion of mine. And I am on a couple different suicide coalitions. I used to be a trainer for the youth mental health first aid, but they had such a restrictive how many times you could do it and different things like that. And I just couldn't keep up with the commitments. But people are scared to say the word suicide or to talk about emotions that some people have that are so strong they get to that point. And I agree with your staff. The more you talk about your award, the more you talk about the trainings you do, the more it just becomes, wow, he's a safe person I could talk to if I need to, or if my kid needs to, or my neighbor needs to. Now I know somebody. It's not just that 988 number. It's not just the crisis line. It's not just my doctor's office or therapist. I got a real face with that. So thank you for doing what you're doing. And thank you for highlighting that as something you're proud of, because saving lives, you may never know the trickle effect you have on people, Yarden. So thank you so much for that. I love that so much. Okay, you're amazing. You do cool things. You just saved lives. You just brought smiles to campers. But what is some area you're still growing in or learning or trying to accomplish about yourself?
Wow. What a great question. This is a hard question. And by the way, there's so much we have in common. If I could ever, we should partner on the suicide prevention work. I will tell you a short story. I was flying once to do a training, and I brought like a little wheelie full of training materials, and I'm going through security, and my bag gets flagged. And when your bag gets flagged, you're like, wait, what did I leave in there? Anyways, it gets pulled over, and the person opens it and says, "What's this stuff?" And I'm like, it's literally suicide prevention training material. Like, you could see it. And it was literally an in and out flight. Like, I was going in, doing the training, coming back. The person said, "Good, my niece is struggling, and I saw it on the screen. Can you help me?" And right there, I was able to, and you talked about this, Al talked about this, but getting in the moment, taking advantage of the moment, getting present. What do I have to work on? So much. This was a hard question. One of the things that I'm working on is bragging, about accepting compliments, about being proud about something. It's interesting because I read the first question. I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to like shy away from it. And yet that's what I'm trying to work on is, being okay with being that person that I am. And it takes work. It's really hard. I wish I was working on something easier sometimes,
And I think how cool is it that Elle just talked about some of the things that we can take a break too, even when we are working in intense, hard stuff. We have very difficult work that we do, but you also have the passions that are difficult and important too. But sometimes we just have to take those breaks and give ourselves a chance to brag, give ourselves a chance to rest. Give ourselves a chance to say, I am not that mediator today. Just let me deal with myself.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. Yes, we are going to connect. We are going to spend more time off even work hours talking about some of the other stuff because I think we could do some cool stuff together. I'm excited. Plus, I'm planning on being that side of the state before too long. So we're gonna have some in-person time, I hope, really soon.
Awesome.
But if you could travel one place right now, even if you weren't bringing campers with you, where would you go right now?
Right now, North Michigan. It's one of those we don't realize how good it is, and it's like always in our backyard, and we just don't go there enough. North Michigan.
Oh, you're so right. And it's like so many people don't travel to Michigan because they don't really think it's a place to visit. They think of, people my age at least think of Detroit as this motor city that doesn't have anything to even bring up. And when I say Michigan, even Detroit is beautiful. There's so much to see. It's not just what you remember from back in the day. And that's one little town. Well, it's a big town, but it's one part of a big state. There's so much beauty and gorgeousness. And we have the lakes and we have dunes and we have trees and we have streams and waterfalls and all the cool things. So thank you for saying that. I've had somebody say their backyard one time, and I don't know if anybody else has ever said somewhere in their own state. So thank you for understanding how important it is just to acknowledge what you have in front of you. Are you ready to take the stage and talk about anything that is on your mind, my friend?
I am so ready.
Yay! It is time for you to share what you came to share, my friend. Go ahead.
I'm so excited. I got to be honest. I had some notes, and then Elle took a different direction. I was like, I cannot just not jump into that. And because we're talking about North Michigan, what a perfect segue. There is, if you live in or near Michigan, and in today's world, we all kind of live near Michigan. There is this scene you've got to see, And I heard about it, I read about it, and I was like, I have to see it. And I did it, and I'm so glad I did. If you go to Pictured Rocks, first of all, you've got to go to Pictured Rocks. If you don't know what that is, let's just stop now. Go look online, see the images, and realize you've got to see it in person. But there's this tree that was growing. If you haven't seen it, it was like growing like on part of the cliff, and then it crumbled. So it's like on this little island sticking out in the water, and it's got a root that goes back to mainland, and that's how it's growing. And you can look it up online. But it's resilience in its essence. And we're talking about here, these skills and these tools are building a muscle within inside of us that helps us see the world a different way. And, seeing it was like, this really works. Like, this is an amazing concept. And you could see a tree doing it. I could do it too. So I want to jump into today's topic because, Jackie, there is something we share in common in a variety of ways. And I was thinking about it. I was like, what do we have in common? You said, don't talk about work outside of work, but I'm going to do it anyways. There's 3 types of conversations. There's a conversation I can have with someone else, which is obviously a lot of our mediation work is that, helping a dialogue happen. There's a conversation I can have with a higher power. Obviously, you mentioned I'm a recovery rabbi. I've done a lot of work in the spiritual framework. And then there's a conversation we can have with ourselves. And you asked me one of the things I'm learning. I'm finishing up a degree in counseling. And each one of those are so important. And you look at it, sometimes we try to talk to ourselves when we really need to be talking to someone else. And sometimes we start yelling at our higher power when, again, we need to be talking to ourselves. And I think as I've been exploring, getting deeper into these conversations, I find it fascinating. What we know about mediation, not to go on such a tangent, is that the best way to set up a good dialogue is do the prep work. You got to do the work beforehand. It's a good intake or it's a good prep work or whatever it is. You got to get ready. And what I was talking about is, how do you do that? Like, in other words, what I was hearing her saying is that this is the work you do so you can show up. How do you show up in an interview? How do you show up in different settings? And I want to throw out this idea: resilience is the way that we show up to have a different experience. So I got 2 examples, and I don't want to chew anyone's ear off or in a negative framework here. But one of the words we were just using is stress. When I think about stress, I brought my little show and tell here. By the way, I don't know if you guys drink seltzer. We're not doing free ads here, but this is my favorite flavor seltzer. And if you pay me money, I'll tell you what. No, I'm kidding. But it's this like lime ginger. So if you're a seltzer fan, it's just crisp and fresh and great. But if you think about a can, right? When you think about stress, every time you think of something stressful, you shake the can. So what stresses you out? Maybe it's like traffic, or maybe it's like bills, or maybe it's like you didn't sleep well at night, or I don't know. People in the chat can definitely dump all the things that stress them out. And then you say, who wants to open the can, right? And a lot of the settings we get into, you use like, what happened? Why did you just blow up at me? Why just like, what? And yet all you did was you opened up a can that was already shook. And a lot of what we learn is, how do we open the can differently? What needs to happen so a can open in an okay way? And obviously in mediation, we do that. In self-dialogue and spiritual, we're trying to understand what's inside that can and how are we going to help that come out in an okay way. But there's another fascinating thing, and I want to take it a little step further. Stress, according to one psychological framework, is not necessarily negative. That would be called negative stress. It's the way we experience stress. And if we're in the right headspace, some of the stresses in our life are actually some of the greatest experience we have. And I'll give you one example. I love being in an escape room. I like escape rooms. If you don't like escape rooms, forget it. I get it, or I don't get it. It doesn't matter. Not only that, my favorite time in an escape room is when there's less than 2 minutes on the clock and I think I still have a chance. Like, that's the best time. By the way, you want to see the not calm me, the not cool me, that's when it comes out. Like, filters are down. We got to get out. This is the most important thing I've ever done. And if it involves yelling, because that's the only skill I have, we're going to do that. And if you get out, great. You don't get out, okay, fine. But you got to get to that 2-minute zone. And we learn about the idea that, when you lose track of time because you're so involved in activity, that's called positive stress. And how do you get there? Negative stress is when I fall deeper and deeper inside myself and I do the exact same thing that I know is not going to work because I'm caught in that insanity pattern. Problem solving goes away, creativity goes away, and I get stuck in that place where I already know the ending and yet I'm still going to create the pattern. And we talk about it a lot. Positive stress is actually where I climb up the brand and go into creative space and everything else. And a lot of those tools, which I haven't read the book, Elle, I hope you send me a copy one day with an autograph, with the note, with the whole thing, like saying all the things that we're going to talk about on that walk that I crashed when. Okay. But with all of that, that's the difference between how do I get into a space to take positive stress. And I heard a great term. I can rant a little further, right?
Yeah.
Okay. deja vu. Deja vu is where like you feel like you were somewhere already. Like oh my gosh, Jackie, didn't we do this already? Like I think I've been on this show. Did I message you that if you pay me $500, I'd get on this show? Something like that. No, that wasn't me. Okay, fine. Anyways, um, deja vu is when you take a new experience and you make it old. And yet there's another term I heard called vujade. How do I take an old experience and make it fresh again, make it new again? How do I bring that newness back? Because when you can bring the newness back, you can find a freshness, you can find a gratitude, you can find a new mindset, you can find a new approach, you can find a new angle. And it's interesting because if you take a 16-year-old and you get them a car, if they're one of those 16-year-olds who get a car, if you're one of my 16-year-olds, you get access to my car during certain hours of the month, whatever, we won't get into that. But take a 16-year-old, you get a car and you get them the first time they're getting gas, they're like, this is the greatest thing ever. I got gas today. I only got like 3 drops on. Meanwhile, you wait like 6 months and like you couldn't fill the thing up for me. Like, like I had to go out and what happened? It was the exact same thing. And that's the deja vu effect. How can I take this awesome experience and just make it routine, just make it rudimentary, just make this fit into the patterns of life, and then turn this stress into negative stress? And then what's the antithesis of that? How do I make this vujade? You talked about challenges in our life. It's in moments of challenge that we find the newness again. It's in moments of you say when it gets dark outside, you can see the stars shine. You hear some people grumble that roses have thorns, and I'm grateful that thorns have roses. And you can take those moments, and obviously it's mindset, but there is something about it that it helps us have an opportunity at freshness. You think about it, you're driving somewhere and someone almost rams into you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I made it, I'm okay. Versus when it doesn't happen, we're like, yeah, whatever, I made it. I got stuck in, and that's shifting the mindset. So you talk about that. That's prepping to have a good mediation. That's prepping to have a good self conversation. It's prepping to have a good spiritual. What work do I need to do to make this conversation great? So that was a big rant and into intro. How am I doing on time though?
Oh, you've got a good 6 minutes or more. One of the things though I want to say is that I would have never expected you and Elle to be so aligned. I am just like vibing off of this so much. And I'm actually picturing the 3 of us walking in the woods right now. Thank you very much. So keep rolling, keep going. I am loving your vibe. We need to talk more like this instead of just in our meetings, because I'm just vibing off you like crazy right now.
I'm excited to hear yours. When do you get back on and you say, okay, and then this is where we're going with that? But the one thing that stands out to me, which you do such a great job at, and is such a passion project of mine, is authentic conversation. How do we get into an authentic space? And what I like about this Vujade thought process is the more I can step out of pattern, the more I can step out of routine, the more I can get present. Have you ever driving somewhere and you went to the wrong place because your schedule was different and you were like an autopilot and you just kind of went there, whatever it was? And yet, how often do we do that with so many parts of our life? Like we get to the end of our day and we're like, I don't know what I did today. And I remember the first time someone like mentioned that thought to me. And if you're ever Michigan winters and sunrise like midday, it's like noontime, and you're just kind of stuck in that dark period of winter. And yet when they said it, I was like, wait a second, I'm actually awake every day of winter in time to see sunrise. It doesn't take much. Why am I never pausing and appreciating it? Like I can literally get both sunrise and sunset in a matter of 2 hours. No, okay, not 2 hours, but you get them both out there. And it's like, I can pause and appreciate the moment. I can get into this moment. And I think something that we train ourselves in, especially in the mediation space, but in a suicide prevention space, people sometimes ask, what's the connection between suicide prevention and the work I do today? It's a difficult conversation. You're mediating a conversation between a person and themselves. That's what you're doing. You're helping them talk to themselves. And what are you doing in any of those conversations if you're going to be successful? Is you're getting super present. An analogy I've got is that, and someone asked me to describe, I remember when I was going through mediation training and getting like into it, and I got into my first mediation. Have you ever got into one of those first zones? You're like, oh wait, it's me? Like this for real? Like that person's like life issue is actually in my, oh, I don't know if anyone should have trusted me right now. And I think it's kind of like surfing, because you get in there and you kind of get balance and you kind of get okay, and you're kind of using this. At a certain point, it's like, no, you got to get present. You just got to try to get on that wave and let the wave carry you. And it's when you get in that zone that you actually empower either the person or the people, depending on what setting you're in, to have the conversation they need to have. And sometimes that conversation is like the way you thought it would go, generally not. But whether in any of these settings, and we know in the suicide prevention work, I'm not here to stop somebody. I'm here to empower somebody. Let them talk to themselves, let them hear themselves. And again, that's why I have to do, that's why I have to do this prep work so that I can get out of the way and let the wave carry the person. And that's why I think about it. I think about like, I remember I came home one day and obviously there's lots of confidentiality and there's a lot you can't talk. And my wife asked me, so how was work today? I was like, I surfed well. And she got it, but like I vibed well. I got in the zone well. I took advantage of it. And I was able to be, and I'm not always like this, I'm not always but when you get in the zone, you're able to get in that space. It doesn't matter about the outcome. The impact is there. And I heard one person describe it as whenever two people talk, there's content, there's the things we say, but there's a process, there's something happening. And if you would turn off the sound, would you still know that that thing is happening? And I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh. And by the way, there's a TED Talk, if you I'm allowed to promote TED Talks on here, but there's a TED Talk about the power of or saying nothing. This guy like literally got on TED Talk and said, I'm going to say nothing. If you watch it on silent, he sounds brilliant. And then you turn it on and he sounds like a complete, like he's saying nothing. And yet then you realize he's even more brilliant than you ever thought because he completely wrote the process. And, I think that there's so much in there. It's getting into space to create a process to allow someone to prosper, to shine, to grow, to blossom. And I love how you do that on this show. I mean, that's how you open. That's how you're about to close me out. And it's just amazing how you light the place up.
Oh, you're so cute. I love that. I usually don't like talk about other shows while I guest on stage, but tomorrow in the book that
Nicole. That's Nicole from Guiding Brilliant Writers.
Yes.
Because I can't wait till she guides me. I'm not brilliant, but hopefully she can make me brilliant in a writer.
Seriously, she will. I promise you. So I read most of the chapters before I did my book review, but I did miss out on just a couple of them. I read one within an hour before we started the show, and her topic is she had hearing impairments growing up, and she could not. Once they did some fix in her ears, I don't want to share her whole story. She was able to get on stages and do everything, but not unless she could be looking at the person. If the person turned their back or the lights were too dark and she couldn't see because she read lips her whole life. And so when you just talked about being able to see that person on person thing, it reminded me exactly of that. I'm like, but we're so rushed in our day to day. We're so focused on the end result. I just got to get through with this shift. I just got to get this mediation agreement. I just got to get this report to court. I got to do all this. That we're in that hyper mode that needs that pressure-free response that Elle's talking about, but we also need to be present because our brain deserves to listen to those other humans. So for those of you that aren't sure what that word mediation is that Yarden and I have both talked about, a lot of people get it confused with meditation. No, because wouldn't we have people so happy coming to our office and using our services if we provided meditation? Mediation is an opportunity to have two or more people that are in some kind of a conflict or disagreement sit down, and it can be virtually or in person, with trained, certified mediators to help resolve that situation. Like Yarden says, he's not trying to stop it. He's not trying to come up with the answer like maybe a judge would, trying to get them to be empowered to talk through that process, whether it's for, somebody they know personally, like a colleague or somebody they were going through a marriage with, and now they're dissolved, or it could be somebody that's totally a stranger. Hey, I paid you money and you didn't do the job or something. In the state of Michigan, there are, what do we have now? 16 mediation centers. Yarden is the director of one of them. I'm the director of another one. And there are so many places throughout the country that also offer mediation. Not as many as Michigan, or not as many that have as robust as Michigan, but sometimes you don't even know that your state has that available because you don't think there's other help, and we get in our heads and we think we have to come up with it. So Yarden, anything you would suggest people if they are in conflict that they want somebody else to help them with, that you would encourage them to look into or figure out how to find mediation or to find that getting in tune with themselves?
It's such a great question. We go to school and training for so many things. Make the call, bring in the skills, bring in the professional, allow the conversation to happen. It's not like this. We think we just use more force or more willpower, we'll get through the conversation. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter, and let someone help you do that.
That you are just a joy. I love seeing this energy you have in the almost bedtime hours. I think it's so cool. So, recovering rabbi, I don't want you to get into too much because I know it's getting close to the end, but has anybody ever called themselves that other than you? Is this like a cult that I've never heard about before?
Wow. We're just going to have to talk again
I
about
know,
that,
right?
right? Keep the conversation going. You can't fit that's what do they say in therapy? That's like the doorknob question. We're trying to shove everything in on the way out. I'll finish you in the hallway type of thing.
You're going to be a perfect counselor.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. What a joy, though. I mean, seriously, the amount of lived experience that both you and Elle have had, and I've had, and the people in the audience have, the people watching replay, we could focus on all the ick nonstop. But when we focus on that, our brain gets clogged in that, and we don't have that time to really enjoy. So, Yarden, I want to thank you a million times for being on stage tonight. I'm definitely going to be following up with you soon. Check out the comments. People are loving what you're talking about, but also connect with Yarden because so much good stuff. And he's going to get a book out before you know it and all the cool stuff. You may want him to come do a training for you, all the things, even if you're not in Michigan, reach out to him. It's cool stuff. Thank you, my friend. I will see you soon. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye. Oh, wow. Look at that. The hour is gone. I learned so much stuff about both of these beautiful humans. I know you guys heard some great things. One of the things I think more than ever that we have to remember is that we are meant to be in this world to experience the good. So many times I think we are heard, even as little kids, don't do that, you're bad, you're naughty, put that down. Even with good intentions, even with you have the most wonderful parents, you still hear that stuff. You have the most wonderful school teachers or clergy, and they still say things that our little baby brains hear, and it comes across as negative. And so a lot of times we think the bad is more important than the good. But you heard both Joy from Elle and Yarden. We deserve to enjoy. We deserve to be in the moment. We deserve to get rid of some of that stress response. And we deserve to have positive impact on other humans. And they give it back to us. We talked about that energy. We close off if we're sitting certain ways or if you're feeling that tension. Yeah, it makes so much sense because I've seen people that I walk into a room that I'm like, oh my gosh, please don't sit next to me. Or don't talk to me because I don't like what vibe is giving off. So if you heard Yarden kind of reference the $500 to be on my show, if you didn't hear the beginning of the show, I had a guy that's literally supposedly an influencer try to get me to pay him $500 to be a guest on this show to speak for 22 minutes. No. But what I forgot to say is not only did he shame me and literally told me I should be ashamed of myself for not wanting to pay him, he took it another step further. And I forgot to say this in the beginning. He told me the only way I would get high numbers on my YouTube channel is if I had him as a guest. So y'all, at the bottom of the screen, it is scrolling what my YouTube channel is. Please subscribe. And I always subscribe back as long as I know what your thing is, because I don't always go to my page to actually see the new people that follow. So send me a message, put it in the comments tonight even. This is my YouTube channel. And we have a lot of people watching tonight that will actually get an alert that you put your YouTube channel in there and they'll subscribe to you too. So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for these incredible guests that keep coming onto these stages. I learn so much. I learn who I want to be around or who I want to learn from, who I want to grow up to be. I mean, seriously, amazing people. Yarden and Elle were top notch tonight, just like almost everybody is, but it's closer to home tonight. So it felt really good. Thank you guys for supporting them, for loving on them. Go back and connect with everybody that's been in the comments tonight. They showed up for a reason, okay? William Rochelle is about ready to start his show. So if you want to wind down night, go jump into his show. He's the one that created my intro and my outro. But if you just need to go, just turn off technology, just take a couple breaths before you climb into bed. Those of you on the other side of the world, before you get into your next meeting, before you climb out of bed, all the things, do what works for you. And then go and connect with these people, okay? Because you want to know them. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you coming. Just Jackson Guest is every single Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am booked almost midway through October, but I have like one opening. So if somebody's super time limit or you got a book release, Get with me now so I can get you booked in that only open spot that I have, okay? Take care of yourself. Take care of other humans as much as you can, but first do it for yourself. Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose just jacks and guests. Jackie Hallberg has left the building. Building. The category is prison reform. Prison reform. The category is diversity. The category is women's rights. Thank you for joining. We appreciate your company. Thank you for coming through. Just jacks and guests. The category is equal rights. The category is inclusivity. The category is second chances. We appreciate your company. Jacks and guests. The category is just jacks and guests. Just jacks and guests. Thank you for coming through. We appreciate your company. Just Thank you for joining us today.